we're on a trend in the last month or so of talking about how hip hop is not number one. It's not like the music just randomly started getting bad. It's been bad for a very long time. Yeah. It is getting worse, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of it is again,
it was better when it wasn't number one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean,
when it had no potential to be number one, yes, it was much better.
I'm going to read a comment from Spotify's head of urban music, Mr. 𝐀𝐁𝐎.
He probably works for Billboard.
Perhaps.
It's probably his dad or his uncle.
See what you guys think about this comment. Says hip hop needs new leaders who are intentional about dictating where the music and culture are going. He said it feels like artists either don't think about it or don't want the responsibility. We need it though. Who's going to step up? Trippie Redd came in and vouched. Great person to vouch. He said he's right. We're going to bounce back though. We let country and Spanish music take over because we too divided.
That's not why it took over.
That's why I was
this kind of goes back to our conversation last week. Because we have Trippie Redd talking. He's the one carrying the flag for this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Responding to 𝐀𝐁𝐎.
Yeah. He's the one that responded.
You don't make good music, sir.
Well, he ain't lying there.
I'm just saying. And just because I don't think he makes good music doesn't mean that I'm old and out of touch. It just means that he doesn't make good music, in my opinion.
Thank you for saying that.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah,
there's people that are the same age as him that
make good music.
That make good music. He doesn't, in my personal opinion.
And let's just get this out there. If you think he makes good music, you have trash taste.
Mr. 𝐀𝐁𝐎 works for a place that curates playlists, right? That's what you said?
Yeah.
So
Spotify.
He's in a position to where you guys are responsible for what's being fed to the people as well. So if that's your job, if that's what you're doing, you need to listen to our podcast maybe and take some of our thought processes and our taste of music and include it with your taste to balance it out, and you'll have a better overall playlist.
What do you
Agreed.
What you think about that comment, Jay Moore? Let me read again.
Look, I don't need to hear any quotes from Trippie Redd again. No, I mean, the thing is, when you talk, because he brought up Spanish and country music.
Well, you ain't even got to.
I didn't know music from Spain was so hot.
You can go back to old boy from Spotify. We leave Trippie Redd part alone. Just what the guy from Spotify said on its face value. You know what I'm saying? That's what I want to hear about. I knew Trippie Redd.
Hip hop needs leaders.
What did he say again about leading people not having leaders?
Just having. He said hip hop needs new leaders who are intentional about dictating where the music and culture are going.
He needs to be intentional about these playlists that he's putting together.
And that's the double truth.
It feels like artists either don't think about it or don't want the responsibility. Who's going to step up? That's the comment.
Well, also, when I saw the story about how there have been no hip hop albums or songs to reach number one, we're only halfway through the year. Let's calm down. If you told me we got through 12 months and there was no number ones, I'd be like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is something we need to talk about and be concerned with. But we're barely 6 months into the year. I mean, I know that's still a long stretch, but it's not.
That is a big sample size.
But it's not like hip hop is gone anywhere. Like, you still can look at the top 5 or top 20 and it's still dominated by hip hop. But then there's also weird things that happen within the new way that we count plays.
Oh yeah.
Because I saw, Sure Thing by Miguel is back in the top 20 because there's like a slow.
You said that last
I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
And I'm like, what? How? So that's taking up a spot from somebody who's got new music out.
Go what you think, Lon? Go ahead.
Who cares if hip hop drops out? If hip hop drops out, this is the way I look at it. If hip hop drops out of favor, it's because the music sucks and the music needs to get better.
I can say it from that end, but also I can say, like, it's almost like when last year there was a song. It was the Nicki Minaj song that sampled the Rick James record, and that song it wound up being at number one. What I'm saying? It did well on pop radio. There was the streaming thing was behind it, and that's great. What I'm saying? It was about time. Nicki was, it was about time for her to hit that number one spot. But nobody ever asked for that song. It did move culture. I'm sorry, it didn't. Maybe it moved in certain in the pop clubs, maybe in the gay clubs. But I'm in the places where hip hop is running things. First of all, Billboard. Why do we even care? What
Spotify
or Spotify or anything that's on these lists that are, that can be manipulated and curated by people who are not of the culture. Like, there, you know how many people have never had a #1 album or a #1 song or a grant? We talk about this all the time, and then we put so much into what these people think and their numbers and their algorithm, and it doesn't mean anything to what actually happens when people are outside.
I like Terry, you correct me if I'm misquoting you, but I like you talking more about the guy that's saying this, his accountability or his lack thereof. He's in a position, right?
He's in a position to correct or right the wrongs,
right?
That he's seen. The whole tweet that he sent out, he should take into his boardroom or wherever he meets with and comes up with these playlists and say we need to be accountable and intentional about these playlists that we're putting together. Because I feel like we're missing something here.
If he really cares.
Because it's out there.
That's it.
It's not like it's not being made.
Yeah.
It's what's being pushed to the consumers. And he's guilty of pushing it to the consumers.
I actually believe that at his core, and I don't know this brother, I'm just going off, what we've been presented. I think at his core, he is that person. But I don't think he wants to go into that room and say that for the sake of possibly losing his job or being replaced, because at the end of the day, we know it's about the bottom line, what works and what moves the needle.
It's true.
To it.
No, it is. It is.
But you see what I'm saying? Like, that could be him at his core, but I don't know if he's really ready to jump out the window and risk it all, quote unquote, to go in there and have the conversation that Terry just talked about.
And you can pay for these spots on these playlists anyway. Let's just be honest. It's a new payola, and it's not regulated. You can't run up into you can't run into Hot 97 or whatever station is in your town and say, hey, I've got $50,000 here. I need this to be played every 45 minutes. I mean, there are some ways you can freak the system and make that happen, but you know what, I don't know if there is an apparatus in place or any type of law in place to where Atlantic Records, if they say they want to have these many artists on the playlist, if they just can't give Spotify that money. Those are the questions we need to ask. Who's paying for all this?
And I've heard recently, actually in the last week, that a lot of that labels are actually involved in a lot of this Spotify playlist curation. So I don't know if there's any validity to that, but I did actually hear that within the last week.
They're heavily involved in that?
Yes. I would not be surprised at all.
Because they have
equity in Spotify.
There you go.
That's ownership. So,
and one of the main joints is I believe it's Rap Caviar. I believe is one of the top ones. And you look at the list, it's very strategic in terms of who's on that, because I know that's one of the main ones. And sometimes I'll scroll through there. 90% of it I'm probably not gonna listen to. But as I scroll through there and I see the records, I'm like, yeah, these are put here by some form of what we're talking about. Yeah, there's no way it's not, because it lines up too perfectly. And though that one, using that one as an example, is the total opposite of what this guy, I believe, would want it to be, but he can't. Like, I think he's really. Man probably just caught between rock and a hard place. I honestly believe he just stuck, because there is a way to get around it. It's just somebody got to jump out the window and do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on him.
It's on him.
He's in position. He worked for Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, you have to use that privilege or of being in that position, and that to invoke the change that you want. This is a good start, I guess, to maybe make the statement,
to put it out there.
But you have to follow it up with something. Like, what are you doing to actually
plan in place? Is there a plan in place?
We're gonna see, because he may not be there in 6 months. This might be his Jerry Maguire moment.
Well,
where he says what we need to do as an industry or as a company, and then all of a sudden they clap for him when he walks into, and they say, yeah, that's right. And then you look up and they're taking him to lunch to be fired.
Boxing up his stuff. Dang, he taking lunch to get fired. Man, that's pretty nice firing.
That's what what was his name? Bob Sugar in the movie. They took him to lunch, so go ahead and
I mean, when he
McGuire out of here.
When he ends the comment with who's going to step up, this type of comment, I think, first of all, I didn't think Trippie Redd would be the person that would respond. But even with this type of comment,
what does it even mean?
What you mean?
Step up. Like,
that's what I was about to get to. It's like, what does that mean?
It's almost like he's asking these artists to make more responsible music. That's what it sounded like to me. But you're curating these playlists with these artists.
Right.
Find different artists.
Yeah.
Because you can't. Your argument can't be that it's not out there.
Yeah.
Can't do that. Like we know that.
Him talking about it's too divided. It's not that it's too divided. I mean, a certain genre of music does not have to move at the same beat or to the beat of the same drum.
Right.
It can all be different, and there can be some stuff that doesn't have substance or ain't as good.
Yep.
But when the mass majority of it isn't good right now, then I mean, you can't say that it's too divided. You just have to do a better job at making your music.
Yeah, in the curators, like I don't think this falls on the musicians necessarily. I think this falls.
It doesn't. I'm just picking on them again.
No, I know. I'm just taking it a step further. I think this falls on the people that are curating the things that they curate.
Right.
And look, we started the Turn Off Your Radio series when 2012, 13, something like that.
Yeah.
Dropping one tomorrow with 93 songs on it.
Yeah. See.
I mean, Spotify,
Click on it and
come
enjoy.
holler.
Yeah.
Send me some money.
I heard that.
Like
I heard that.
it's like we've been doing it for a very long time, and it's not like. And my point of saying this isn't like that I'm the only one that that we were the only ones that have put this together. There are plenty of good people out there that do that. It's just they need to be amplified more. And I don't think this. I don't know. It's always just kind of a weird abstract statement in general to say like, yeah, hip hop needs to step up. Well, who is hip hop? Like who is?
You make it sound like hip hop is somebody that lives in the mountains, and you can go ahead and they come down and decree that we need to change.
Yeah, I
No.
don't.
And then everything is magically going to change.
No, like it's just like put pressure on the artists to make better music, and don't playlist stuff that is trash.
Stop taking the money from Spotify.
And also, like. We talk about the club a lot because you're in the club, but hip hop doesn't strictly live in the club either.
That's a good point.
Because
that's a good point.
Because I played the new Killer Mike in the 3000 song, in the club, early because I wanted to hear it. But from a certain time to a certain time, and the thing is, most of the music, look, just keep it real. Most of the music that gets played in the club is trash. But I can't act like that's not part of the culture. I can't understand like that's not what the pretty girls want to dance to when they are drinking their $15 drinks in their pretty dresses.
Well, maybe you need to be the change.
Be the guy.
You know what? That's what Take That Tuesday is about. There's a time and a place.
Going into the club. Next time you go into the club on a Saturday night. And be like, you know what? I'm going to be the change and play "Milk This Cow" by 𝐀𝐿.
Yo, find something else for me to play.
Play Doja Cat's new single where she's actually rapping.
I did see that.
No,
she was rapping.
Not bad.
That's something I got into the playlist.
You're looking. My taste good, but I just had to redirect my cooking. I could have been in.
She snapped on it.
She actually went off.
Yeah,
she is so weird though, man.
Yeah,
she's like gradually getting weirder and weirder.
I like her weird. I can't lie.
I do like her weird.
Yeah.
Though. I ain't gonna hold you.
like her
I
weird.
like her weird.
I like her weird too. I miss Thick Doja, but I like her weird.
I
like her weird though. I do like her weird.
I miss Cal Doja.
Yeah, I mean she got hot off a song she was trolling on.
Yeah, she was kidding.
But the fact that she actually can rap is refreshing, and that she cares about it. That part is very refreshing.
Yeah,
it make
she perform. I don't know if I've ever seen Doja.
I haven't seen her rock. I don't know what her stage game is like.
Not live, but yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that she cares about being dope, I can respect that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can respect that. But yeah, Jay Moore, go ahead, man. Milk this cow to pillage.
Look, you don't think,
I need one of those.
Look, you don't think since I'm in a position to do so that I don't sneak some joints.
I know you do. Yeah. I'm just talking about if you want to shake something up. I
haven't had DJ sneak those Rhapsody records in.
There you go.
When you look at the playlist that's on the video screen.
Yeah.
You see.
You got sneaking in applesauce.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
sneaking in a little medicine with candy.
Shake it up, bro. Play Killer Army or something about 1:30.
Okay,
just try that.
I mean, first of all, if it was people there my age. First of all, people there my age don't even want to see Killer Army like that.
I mean,
right, low-key.
I mean, a big problem with this in general, is that it's the consumer that wants it as well. Like
that plays a part in it.
Yeah, I mean, the artists are putting out bad music, and the general consumer has really bad taste in music, and so it's just a big vicious cycle of wanting to hear.
Look, McDonald's is always packed.
True.
It's just what.
Let me ask you this, Lone.
A lot of them burgers be good.
Sometimes.
No, they don't.
Fish sandwich was fire. I don't care who told you wrong.
Unless y'all got a sponsorship for us, then McDonald's is the place to be.
Well, what you just said though, Lone, about I lost my train of thought. You just dropped a bar. About the consumer.
Yeah.
And the responsibility and the cycle, right? So is there actually a form of a remedy for this, or does it just, because they say everything comes back around. Is this just a phase with the consumer and the type of music that's being requested and all that, and then it'll come back around to something else? Is that how you see it?
I'm not going to pretend like I know.
Okay. Because there's no fix. I don't think you can't just fix this.
No, like I said, it just feels like a vicious cycle of, and this isn't the first time. Like, the only reason I think we're talking about it in the light that we're talking about it is because we're on a trend in the last month or so of talking about how hip hop is not number one. It's not like the music just randomly started getting bad. It's been bad for a very long time. It is getting worse, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of it is it
was better when it wasn't number one.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, when it had no potential to be number one, yes, it was much better.
Yeah.
That's a bar right there.
when Ebro,
that guy.
That guy.
I'm not trying to mess his
Buddy
name
at Hot 97.
Come on, I'll get you 150 comments.
When he was talking about a few weeks ago about, how hip hop needs more gatekeepers.
Remember that? Yeah.
I feel like this is what leads to that particular type of conversation.
Okay.
In my opinion. So yeah, we need more gatekeepers. We need better gatekeepers, and we need people to be like, nah, this isn't good enough. We're not gonna play it.
We have to do better.
You have to do better.
Content would have been. Look, we talked about that song Pound Town. I think about when, my first, one of the first people that really messed with me at radio, Deja Vu. And she actually works at WBLS now. Like, I can't imagine them bringing that to her when she was musical director at 100.3 The Beat, and her saying that we're going to play this. I now they just like, oh, we'll just go ahead and play it. It's popular. The kids like it. Yeah. I think there would be something to where they said, no, we're not playing this. We can't do this. Not right now. This is going to stay in the strip club. And I just think now everything is moved so much by metrics and so much by numbers. You can't have that, I don't want to say moral argument, or artistic argument, and say, we're not doing this today, because I don't think there's any room for that.
When you hear Charles Barkley talk about people that do analytics, he hates the guys that do analytics when they break down basketball. He's like, these fools that do analytics, they don't know what they're talking about. That goes to the concept of what you're talking about, numbers, because that's really what it boils down to. We're looking at graphs, charts, and numbers. I'm not plugged into, I don't want to use the culture because we talked about that, but you're not plugged into what's actually going on. You're looking at graphs and charts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the analytics.
I don't know. To be honest, and maybe I know I'm biased here, but I'm okay with a few good gatekeepers.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few people that understand,
who actually care.
Yeah, that actually legitimately care, even if they're wrong sometimes. I can appreciate that. And Overwhelming Slice has a pretty good comment. The internet democratized music. The only gatekeepers are the fans, and I think that's true to a degree. I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing for the state of something. It is in one aspect, but
that's a good.
It's true, but at the same time,
there's a lot of power.
There are people higher up who present, quote unquote, the fans with what they want them to see and what they want them to hear.
Yeah, everything is still curated in that aspect. And it goes back to like my overwhelming continual reference to everything is it's capitalism. It's all driving by the dollar. Every conversation that we're having right now, it goes down to the bottom line and people trying to keep their bottom lines up. That's really what it comes down to. And so, you try to have this culture of, what's great and pushing greatness up towards the top. Well, if that's not selling in that aspect, then that doesn't get as much, pull or push as it should get. And so culture doesn't really have a chance to change in that aspect because you're always fighting against the bottom line of what makes money, the lowest common denominator. So,
and please believe at the end of the day, that is the goal.
Yeah.
To make money. Yeah. Period. And whatever it takes to get to it. That's what these companies are in the business of doing.